Hi everyone. Well, I am about to have my interview with Bitman360. This is one of those rare opportunities I've had that, you know what, I didn't think I was going to get a chance to do this. I didn't think he was going to agree to it. I know he's up to his neck fighting against Tom's movie that's happening. I just don't know how this is going to go. I'm expecting him to join me on this call any minute. And we'll just have to see what happens. I mean, obviously we're going to talk about the scooter coin side. We're going to talk about his tech, this Buttercup 3 device he's got. But I want to know more about the man behind the tech. It's very easy to say, you know, he's a criminal, he's a scammer, all the stuff that Tom has thrown out there. But I want to know why he got into it. What made him get into crypto from professional scootering? It's a professional sport. He's a professional athlete at a very high level. What made him want to change to this? So, not spoken to the guy before. I don't think he's done any other interviews either. It's a bit crazy in itself. So hopefully he's going to be online any second. So let me just send him a message and see what he says, because I know he's busy. I know that his team, I mean, I haven't heard much about them, but I know his team is crazy busy trying to get the Buttercup 3 to work. And yeah, it's about to, oh, I think this is him. So I'm going to admit Bitman now and see what happens. Is he joining us? Is that Bitman? You there, mate? Bitman360, is that you? Oh, I think he's there.
Oh, damn, mate. You're already here. Great. How you going?
Oh, great, mate. It is great to finally meet you. I am very excited. I can't say how happy I am you chose to talk to me, because there's so much going on. I know how busy you are.
2 seconds, mate. 2 seconds. Mum, I've got a call now. I've got a bloody interview. No, it's a very important interview. Not now, okay? Okay, sorry, Dan. Sorry about that, mate.
No problem, mate. I mean, I know how busy you are at the minute. I know it's all chaos with the Buttercup device and scooter coin and this crap show that Gillespie's thrown out about you, all the rumours he's, thrown around there.
Started on that guy. Bloody hell, he's doing my bloody head in.
But I really appreciate you taking the time out to have a chat to me and show your side of all this, because I know this movie is going to be out in some point next few months, and I think it's important we get your stuff out there so people can see your side of it, because I don't think he's going to show your side, is he?
No, well, listen, mate, I couldn't agree more. Like I say, this Tom Gillespie's been getting at me for the past 6 months or something about the scooter coin and the Buttercup 3 and everything. And he's basically got the wrong end of the stick. He doesn't know what the bloody hell he's talking about. And he's out there spouting nonsense on the Twitters, on the Instagrams and stuff. And it's, part of me just wants to ignore the guy, stop dealing with him. But, an opportunity like this, when you reached out and you suggested that I could actually sell my side of the story, I think that's an opportunity that I couldn't miss, basically.
Cool. Well, before we get into the stuff that's happening now, let's take it back a bit, because obviously you were a professional athlete, very highly ranked in the pro scooter world. What was it like? People who have never seen that side of sport, what was it really like in that?
Honestly, mate, it was exhausting. It's, I mean, it's often, extreme sports like scooterers, we don't get as much praise as other athletes in other sporting segments, if you like. So, but a lot of bloody traveling, a lot of airplane time, a lot of hanging around in airports and what have you. But when you get on point and you've got to, do your set when your time is called, when you're on point, you got to be there 100%, basically. Like, So we drank a lot of, obviously we drank a lot of energy drinks like Monster and what have you. And the guys at Lucky Scooters, you know, they kept us pumped up with the sugary drinks so that we were always on point when it came to nailing our runs, basically. But yeah, it was exhausting. And I mean, I'm like 25 now, going on 26. Back then I was, you know, late teens. So I had a shitload more energy in me than I do these days. And, you know, I don't know how much you know about my history, but I had a pretty big slam back in 2013, actually, the sort of same time that I discovered crypto. And, you know, that put me on crutches for 10 months, basically. So it wiped me.
That took you out of the sport, in effect, then, did it?
What's that, mate?
That took you out of the sport altogether, in effect, then? That sort of injury.
It pretty much took me out of the professional realm. That's right.
So it was about that time then you made the move into crypto, am I right?
Sorry, mate, one more time.
It was about that time you made the move into crypto and you started looking and working around that.
Precisely. I had a lot of time on my hands, being like held up in bed and what have you. So I started like Googling around, and I spend quite a bit of time on Reddit, and I just started reading all about it. Took an online course back then, and just when I discovered Bitcoin, basically I was like, this can't be for real. No chance. So I had to do the education to bring myself to make myself believe. Before I bought anything, I was like, I need to understand this shit properly.
Yeah.
And that took me to a point where I became converted, basically. Yeah. So, and my decentralized Me Too campaign was one of the first things that I ran with off the back of that. I was convinced that decentralizing myself was a good way to get started. Wasn't immediately evident that it would be tied into the scootering career that I had at that time, but that kind of evolved from that the Ministry of Decentralization, which is very famous around, especially in South America.
Did you find that your fame from scootering that helped you get started in the crypto world, or did you find it held you back?
Well, listen, athletic sports like scootering and hyper geeky tech like crypto, they don't always cross paths. So I built a bit of a following, of course, off the back of my scootering career, and I decided I should try to, when I became enlightened by the promise of decentralization, then I thought I'm going to bring my brothers and sisters from the scootering realm into this world in the best possible way I know how. Yeah. And so yes, basically I did.
So when you got started with Scooter Coin, what made you go down that path of wanting to do your own crypto? And tell us a bit about what it's supposed to do and what your intention is with it.
Well, when we started with Scooter Coin, it was a little bit of a Imaginarium, if you like. I had a couple of guys who'd come in with a bit of money. I had a tech dude in India there that helped me sort of, build the first iterations, if you like, or start to develop the blockchain, the scooter chain there. But I, to be honest, I was just fumbling my way through it. I didn't really, I brought myself to a level where I thought blockchains and decentralizations are definitely a thing. How the fuck am I going to bring scootering into this? And, first things first is like, right, we need a bloody coin. So let's make Scooter Coin. Let's start there. Let's get that up and running, which has been a consistent struggle, in fact, to just maintain, just to keep up with the competition, especially when the ICO bubble of 2017 came around. That just kind of blew us out the water a bit there because we were too busy trying to, grow the network the traditional way rather than just
go for the quick money,
off tokens and what have you, and trying to sell them. So we missed the boat on that one. But I realized that there was an opportunity when it came to the inefficiencies of other cryptocurrencies in terms of how they were mined.
Yeah.
Now, this is in the headline. This has been in the headlines. It still is today. You know, it just costs a heap. You need a bloody powerful machines. And I thought, well, what if we could figure out a way to take, you know, the kinetic energy that's created when you do, you know, a tail whip, a bar spin, a buttercut on the scooter at the skate park, and use that energy that's kind of wasted. It just evaporates into the atmosphere. The trick has landed, but the energy's gone forever. How can we harness that to, you know, basically mine scooter coin? And from that kind of crazy idea, that was back in 2018, I think it was. We had we're up to the Buttercup 3 already now. So we've gone through a couple of iterations with that device, but we've cracked it recently. We've actually managed to crack it. So now I have a way to give back, you know, in a sense, to the scootering community that I left behind due to my injuries. And in a way, I can bring them into this crypto world at the same time. So essentially, they get, you know, they play a very, very important role in securing the scooter chain network, and they get to ride their bloody scooter at the same time. Like, this is just a win-win on both sides, as far as I'm concerned.
That's great. I mean, you've got a definite use case and an easy targeted demographic for your end users. So this is the Buttercup 3, am I right, that you've got now? What happened with the Buttercup 1 and 2? Because I've not seen about that.
Well, you know, I was working with developers in India, and there's always a bit of a miscommunicado when you're not experienced working with developers, and I wasn't at that time. So we ended up with some pretty obscure devices on the first few rounds, to be honest. They wouldn't hold up to the impact when, you know, the rider of the scooter failed the trick or whatever, and dropped the scooter, slammed. The device would break as well. It had like these prongs on it that were sort of like, they were basically what we were thinking of a simple, what we now use a gyroscope for. So these little vibrating springs would kind of read the trick, if you like, by the rider, and then go and you know, broadcast that information to the network in order to mine the new scooter coins. So yeah, that was 1, and 2 was slightly more compact device, but still too chunky, and basically, you know how it is with these iterations. They often start out kind of clunky and boxy and big, and they get smaller and smaller and smaller, and eventually they turn into an app, which to be honest, I'm kind of thinking that's what's going to happen with the Buttercup 4. But, you know, that's spoiler alert. So we'll keep that between us two.
So that, and so the Buttercup 3, it works. It's got a gyroscope in it. They attach it to the scooter, and then does it mine scooter coin as you do the tricks? Yes,
so it's an extremely efficient network. So it doesn't require nearly as much hardware as our competitors, Litecoin, Bitcoin, etc. It only requires a very small amount of kinetic energy to mine efficiently. And because, you know, there's millions of scooters out there, all 24/7 riding the skate parks around the world, generating their collective output from their devices is sufficient to find new blocks. Basically, it's enough power, enough energy generated. But yeah, essentially, there's a gyroscope in there. There's also an algorithm, a draw claw AI, which sits in the cloud actually. So the accelerometer and the gyroscope, bloody hell, mate. These words are too big for me, but they essentially are reading the trick. They've already got a library of tricks. They know when this happens, then send that information to the draw claw technology that's been developed by our partners in India. And at that point, the cloud, the data in the cloud also has some information on the user, on their skill level, and suggests to the draw claw technology that this user has never done a tail whip double bar spin down a handrail before. His skill level, this is way above his skill level, therefore allocate a larger compensation in scooter coins. So it's directly related to their historical data that's been generated by their scootering activities. So in that way, it's very advanced. So, you know, the better you get, the more you push yourself, the more scooter coins you get compensated.
Nice. Very nice. So before we wrap up, because I know how busy you are and I know how much stuff you've got on, how many balls you're juggling in the air at any time, let's talk a bit about this Tom Gillespie, the Fakefluencer movie he's got going on. What do you think his accusations against you are, and why do you think he's targeting you particularly?
Oh, look, Dan, it was, you know, he was one of the first investors to get involved there, like a few years back. So he obviously is one of these investors that just isn't bloody patient enough.
Yeah.
Like, he's not a long term. He just wants to get in and get out of his profits, you know. And the guy's actually been trying his darndest to pump the value as well. Like, you won't hear this from him, obviously. He keeps it quiet, but he was in for a quick buck. He had no vision, long-term vision. To be honest, we should have vetted him a little bit more before allowing him into the investor pool, to be honest. But yeah, essentially, he's just shit. He's a speculator. He's not a long-term value investor. So that's my position on it.
And now he's got bitter about it and is trying to do a witch hunt.
Yeah, basically, it seems like he's been traveling around speaking to my, you know, friends and family and what have you for his bloody movie, and he's got it inside his head that the entire scooter coin ecosystem is a scamdemic or something, which is just nonsense. It's just, you know, it can't be realized. It's an open source project. I've built this device using, you know, fair enough, we use some of his money, but we also used a lot of other people's money who haven't been nearly as whingy and whiny about it. So, you know, what can you say? The guy made a shit investment, or from his perspective, he made a shit investment, and he hasn't got the patience to hold on to see the product through to, you know, fruition, which is fine. That's whatever. But, you know, to have him go investigating, speaking to my family and my friends is just, yeah, well, I'm getting my lawyers involved anyway, so, but I won't talk about that.
I've heard a couple of people mentioned that he's actually been directly hassling your parents as well. Is that correct? He actually went and tracked down your parents and started speaking to them? Yeah,
he did. He's travelled over down there, and he's found them and he's spoken to them. Luckily, they gave me a heads up and said, you know, he's after you and what have you. So I managed to I haven't had to deal with the guy directly, but my agent did speak with him and put him straight, told him exactly what the bloody hell's going on. So he should piss off now, but it looks like he's still going to go ahead and put this movie out, which it's going to flop anyway. He hasn't got a bloody chance. The guy, I mean, if you look at the guy's background, you know, he's not from this movie making world, so I doubt he's going to put together a very good storyline, at least.
Yeah, I couldn't actually see what his background was. It's very hard to try and pin down exactly what he does and why he's involved and why he's even involved in crypto, because this whole idea of him chasing you down, it just seemed bizarre that there was no justification for it, we could say.
Exactly. I mean, he's looking for a fool boy. You know, and because I was I still am a crypto influencer for the scooter coin ecosystem. I mean, I'm one of many, but for some reason because I was so successful off the back of my previous audience with my scootering career, he's gone and picked me off to make an example, it looks like. But I mean, the guy hasn't, you know, he says he's trying to find me, and he wants to get hold of me for his investigation and blah, blah, blah. he's never bothered once trying to contact me, you know, through the regular normal channels, like through my agent or through email or Twitter or whatever. I mean, of course, we have a bit of banter on Twitter, but he's never DM'd me, for example.
Yeah.
So I don't get why. What's that?
I mean, that's how I got in touch with you. It was just a quick DM, waited a while. Yeah, one thing led to another. That's one thing I did think was odd, that he'd never, because obviously you see the stuff online. We know people looking at it from the outside, you look at yourself, we see this is a guy who knows about crypto, who knows what he's doing. And then we see Tom coming after you. And it does seem that he's missing something by not getting in touch with you, not getting you directly involved in his investigation. Almost like he's, to be honest, to me, it looked like he was deliberately avoiding having you as part of it. And it was
I tend to agree. I guess he doesn't actually really want to get to the truth. He doesn't want to get to the bottom of it. He more likes the chase, if you like. I guess it's so he can wind up a good story for his movie.
Yeah.
You know, people love the chase, but when they actually get to the end of it, they're kind of disappointed. So pushing that off into the future is probably beneficial for his narrative, I'd imagine. But at the end of the day, the guy is, you know, he's a better guy. I've been watching him on the internet and on the social medias and what have you, and I see he's a shit investor. He's crap. He played with penny stocks most of his life, and now he gets in with the big boys, trying crypto and what have you, and failing miserably. You know, he's better, basically.
Yeah. He's made a loss, didn't get his money back fast enough, and now he's just...
Well, it's not over yet, man. It's not over, you know. It's a long bloody journey. Like, we've only been at it fucking, 3 years, something? Maybe 4. So... And new investors are joining all the time. We just got a bunch of Russians in, you know, we got the Italians, we got the English, Saudis, now the Russians. So, and, you know, most of our consumer end is in South America, Argentina, Chile, Brazil. We all know is a growing scooter industry there. So, you know, skate parks are being built every 3 weeks over there, and scooters are selling like hotcakes. So, you just ask the guys at Lucky Scooters, you know, they're selling out for my signature ride. So, and once the device gets, again, I don't want to give a spoiler, but once the device, the Buttercup 3 gets baked into those scooters, my signature ride that's being sold down there now, you know, I think we're going to see some proper returns. And by that time, you know, Tom's movie's going to be out and he's going to be embarrassed as fuck, because he's going to see, oh shit, if only I'd just shut up for another 6 months, I would have seen a sweet return. You know, and as far as I know, he still holds his bloody scooter coins. He's not sold them. He's just having a whinge.
So he's still, in effect, an investor in the project. He hasn't dumped his tokens and then gone after you. He's still holding them and still going after you at the same time.
Am I allowed to talk about this? I'll have to get back to you on that, actually. I don't know. My agent suggests that I should shut up about that.
Okay. Yeah, just with the film going on, legal side of it, I'm sure. Yeah, we don't need to back you into a corner about something you don't want to talk about.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, like you say, I've got enough shit on my plate with that guy. So, you know, do not visit the fakefluencer.com. Do not get a free ticket to the premiere. I know he's giving away free tickets. And, you know, just don't do it. Instead, you know, visit scootercoin.life, and now scootercoin.org, of course. We've got, you know, pool mining up, got the wallets for all the desktops. So it's time to get involved. We're going to the next level, and Tom's coming. Well, he might be coming with us, it looks like. So
an unwilling passenger at this point, but still a passenger.
Well, you know how it is dealing with investors. I don't know if you have any experience yourself, Daniel, but it can be a real challenge, especially when there's bloody, you know, hundreds, if not thousands of the bloody things. So,
and a project like this, where the financial potential is so huge, you know, investors are going to be challenging to deal with for it.
They really are. They really are. And I'm glad I don't have to maintain all those relationships, because otherwise I'd just drive myself potty.
Well, thanks very much for your time, Bitman. I really appreciate it. It's great to hear your side of things, hear how the project's going. And yeah, we'll no doubt be keeping an eye on it, seeing when the Buttercup 3 launches properly and we can get it attached. I might even have a go at scootering myself. I'm a bit old for it at my age, but give it a go.
Well, mate, it does adapt to electric scooters as well. So if you're not, inclined to do tricks at the park, you can just ride it from A to B, and it will still generate, some coins for you, it's a nice aspect of the Buttercup 3. So yeah, it will be out Christmas 2020. Yeah. So yeah, don't forget to pre-order at scootercoin.life. Tell your friends and family. And we'll get those devices, in the post around just in time for Christmas is the goal. But listen, Dan, thanks for the opportunity, mate. Really, really appreciate it.
No, it's great having you on. I'm just amazed I managed to get you to free up enough time to talk to me. It's been brilliant. So take care, mate, and no doubt we will keep in touch as things progress. Look forward to hearing more from you.
Absolutely. Take it easy.